Yo, Beth, that shit crazy.
Welcome everybody to All Even Live exclusive. I am Barry Grant, host of the All Even podcast. This is Mike Guido, host of Guido's Gridiron Blitz. We have Matt Cataruzolo in the bottom left. On the show today, we have former NBA player, former two-time NBA champion, Josh Powell. How you doing, my man? Great to have you.
Bless, King. How are you?
Yes, sir. We're good, man. Glad to finally have you on.
Yes, sir. I apologize, fellas.
Nah, that's all right, man. That's all right. You know, we will wait for you. It don't matter. It's all good. It's all good. Life happens. So let's just get right into it. You know, you played at NC State, right? You played 2 years at NC State, and you know, 2003 comes, the draft comes. You're thinking that, you know, you have some draft stock. Did you hear anything in regards to where you would go in the draft, why you decided to come out, and then, you know, when you didn't get drafted, like what was your mindset after that? Like, was it like, okay, cool, do I got to get to work, or was it kind of like a period where you were a little sad and, you know, a little disappointed?
I mean, for me, I initially wanted to test the waters.
Yeah.
And some things have been transpiring in my 2 years at NC State. So when I first started out by testing the waters, you know, I just initially just wanted the support for doing that. You know what I mean? My mind wasn't quite made up. Um, but then there was some things that kind of went on, and I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to move forward with it. Step out here on faith. And I didn't want to be in a position because I thought about it, prayed on it. I didn't want to, because that, you know, the rules are different now.
Yeah.
And at the time, you know, if you transfer, you'll lose 2 years if you stay in the same conference, and then only 1 year
Right.
if you go to another conference. So I didn't think that was worth it. I really wasn't feeling coming back. So that's why I just stepped out on faith and just went forward with it. I finished up the season on a very, very high note from the end of ACC play to a strong ACC tournament.
Yeah, you played well against Duke, man. You killed.
Yeah, in a strong NCAA game, even though we lost in the first round. But yeah, it was just one of those things where hold on real quick. Let me do this right here. There we go. I think that'll help. We still on? We good?
Yeah, we still good.
All right. So like when I had you know, I felt good about how things were going. And initially, like when I started doing my workouts and stuff like that, I was the only workout that was a problem, and I did okay in that one, was the Wizards, and that was like towards the end of my workouts.
Yeah.
Everything else was like murder, like just great workout. The Miami Heat actually brought me back twice. Everything was good, and going into Chicago, I was one of the top players during that time because I upped my stock.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure what happened when Herb Sendek showed up, because he came to Chicago during the time that I was there too. And, you know, I just believe that there was, I don't know what was said or what went on, but it was like the conversations that were being had at the beginning of Chicago started to kind of change up toward the end of Chicago.
So you think that he probably might have said something to kind of
all I'm gonna say, you know what I mean? I ain't pointing no fingers, but all I'm gonna say is the vibe was definitely different.
Yeah.
So you know, my agent, I had a good agent, a really good agent, excuse me. He was very transparent. He was upfront and honest. What was crazy was during that time, way back then, you know, they do the mock draft.
Yeah.
So I was as high as 16 on some boards.
Wow.
And I don't pay attention to the draft stuff like that. You know what I mean? I remember one time my teammate was looking it up, and he was like, "Damn, bro, they got you going." At that time, they got you going late first.
Nice.
So I was like, all right. still ain't tripping on it because I understand, how things could be. But I was already, my mind was set regardless.
He was going, yeah.
Draft night came. Obviously, I was disappointed. It was crazy because Josh Howard got drafted, the last pick in the first round. So when they said Josh, I didn't hear nothing.
Oh, jeez.
Right?
Wow.
Started getting up.
because well, it was so crazy because it's like I had like a little draft situation, and I had family, close friends, just stuff like that. It was real small and intimate, and it was like I was already kind of like nervous. I was walking around. I didn't really watch the draft, and it just so happens that where they had it playing, which we were all downstairs, I had went upstairs for something, and right when they was announcing that last pick,
Yeah.
my heart sank.
Damn.
So I didn't know if they said me, didn't say me. I just heard everybody go, oh. Like, it was just, man. But, salute to my brother, man. I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it didn't work out. And, of course, I think, anytime you have an expectation and you know what you do, there's disappointments.
Yeah.
But one thing about me, I think that I've been there before. I've failed. I've gotten up. I've failed again. And I don't allow those things to like disappoint me. I don't allow that to get in the way of, what I'm doing and where I'm going. Because, I've always been an underdog back against the wall, and that's been my mentality. So, like I said, I mentioned my agent before. I mean, we had a long conversation and he had a plan. And it was all about getting to the right place, being on the right team to get the right opportunity. And obviously had to go through Summer League first. So, I was picked up by the Mavericks. Summer League did really well, ended up signing a non-guaranteed contract. And then they released me in like November or something like that. And then I did half a year overseas, came back Summer League, full year back in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, your career is really interesting, Josh, because you were kind of a journeyman throughout your entire career. Ended up winning 2 rings with the Lakers, and
should have been 3.
Yeah. Yeah. We gonna talk about that, JB.
Oh my God.
But it's amazing how, because you're undrafted in the 2003 draft, and we, obviously we understand why that draft is so famous. Obviously with LeBron James and Carmelo and Chris Bosh and D Wade, and you're even talking about guys that had long NBA careers, right? Chris Kaman, Kirk Heinrich, guys like Luke Ridnour, Nick Collison, David West. Like, a lot of these guys came out in this draft and had long NBA careers. Yeah. And I would say that among those guys, you were one of those. You were a player that played a solid amount in the NBA. You had a solid NBA career. Again, had the fortune to win a couple of rings. How do you altogether, again, especially towards the end of it, right after you finished your career in Houston, when you look back at your NBA career, are you proud of it? How do you look at your NBA career as a whole?
You know what? I am, because it's bigger than me. And I think that I could be an example to people of not giving up, and continuing to fight. Because, like, I had to always be ready. And, another story that's crazy that a lot of people don't talk about, I guess they don't really know too much about it, was so remember after we lost in the finals?
Yeah.
The Mavs did a trade. So when they did the trade, they sent me, Marquise, Raul Marshall, and Daryl Armstrong to the Pacers. So I was a part of the strip club shooting team.
Wow.
Then they did another trade when we went to the Golden State Warriors for the We Believe.
Right.
So the summer that I got traded to Indiana, they had a full roster, and they just drafted James White at 16, I think it was. Right? Mm. So I don't have no chance, literally, because it's like my first year was guaranteed. My second year was non-guaranteed. Started early in the summer, grinding. Like, the minute the trade happened, I literally probably was in Indiana a week or two after that to start workouts, because I'm just like, man, I gotta I'm gonna make something happen. I don't know what, because it's like, it's not a chance in hell. They already got 4 all guaranteed spots, everything's taken up. So I'm busting my ass going through these workouts. I'm battling against Jermaine all summer, working out with him, Jeff Foster, all these guys, and had a great summer. Great summer going into camp. Then I done fucked around and had a great camp. So now it come time for them to make a decision, and they literally released a top draft guy to keep me.
Wow.
So they released James. That's when he went to San Antonio. So he still got his money,
right?
But then he was getting paid twice, double dipping. He went to San Antonio. And they kept me. And that again is just a testament to like people that know me. And like, what's funny, man, when you always hear like the fans and the supporters and they talk shit. I hope y'all don't mind me.
Nah, it's fine. Go ahead. You good.
So, they always talk shit about everybody. Like who's this guy? He only averages 3. And who is this guy? He only averages 5. And who is like, it's like the disrespect, the guys that work their asses off and get to the top of the mountain. And it doesn't matter what went on for you to get there. It doesn't even matter what you're doing at the point. What matters is somebody noticed and thought that you were good enough.
Just to add to that, Josh, like people don't realize that, the guys that put in the work and practice, you see that on the court. Like, guys are busting their ass in practice. They making things competitive in practice. So the team is actually better. You see the improvements go, game by game, week to week, month to month. It's because of those hard-earned practices that people are putting in work. Guys like you, guys like, other guys that are working their way up the depth chart. You're putting in work and practice, and you're pushing those starters. You're pushing those rotation guys, to the brink, to the point where coaches are looking at you and like, we got to keep him around because, he's doing more stuff than we even thought possible. You know what I mean?
Well, the other part too is, and I think people don't realize this, when you're in those positions and you got to play a role, you got to stick to what's going to keep you your job. Right. But when it's summertime, like when we have free play, when there's no plays involved, I'll see anybody. Yeah. Like that's the thing. Like I'm never worried about that. Like on either end, I can guard any position, and it's a lot to my offensive game that people don't know about, and that's why I've gotten the respect that I've gotten throughout my career, no matter where I've gone, because it's bigger than that. Like I'm a hooper. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I love the game. I study the game. I'm a hooper, man. And it's just I went left real quick because it's just I always see and hear people like go there. And I'm like, bro, that's all y'all got. Like y'all gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta have respect for everybody. Like this is a team game. I'm definitely not tripping on what you talking about, because at the end of the day, you know what I mean? One thing that can't be taken away is the fact that I'm a champion. You know what I'm saying? So these are the reasons why I appreciate those moments. Like, do I wish some things could have happened better? Yeah. Just like I also know too, like it's crazy too, like the way they getting paid now, I can only imagine like, you know what I'm saying? What I could have, you know what I mean, stumbled up on one of them years or something,
Get a nice little 40 million over 3 years, you know what I mean?
Man, they giving out the what's the one boy, man? He averaged like 4 and 2 and got a 50 ball, man. And again, it's no shade, but it's just me thinking how different it is now versus back when we was, the big contracts back then was 6 years, 36.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody got a 6 for 40. God damn, these guys getting paid, right? Now it's LeBron 2 for 90.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just different, man. But I just went left with that. And to answer your question, like I'm grateful. I think that those moments helped me as a man, and it helped me as a father. It helped me as a teammate, a brother, a son. It just helped me in so many ways across the board. And I think that's bigger than basketball, man, because it's some people that are given blessings and they don't really use that You know what I'm saying? To bless others. It's just from the standpoint, like, yeah, you can hoop, but when you die, you're not taking none of that with you. How will people remember you?
Right.
And a lot of times, you know, your character, you know, things like that, what you stand for, stick out way more than anything else. And that's what I pride myself on.
Getting deep.
Yeah,
5 minutes into the year, but we're damn deep, dude. Oh man, jeez. Go ahead, Matt.
Josh, Mike alluded to your extensive NBA resume before, and there's probably not that many undrafted players in NBA history that have seen the things that you have seen. So I want to know a little bit about after going undrafted, what was your kind of first mindset going into the notion that you were going to first play overseas? Did you approach it with optimism or hesitation? Had you ever been out of the country prior to that point? What was that time in your life like for you?
I mean, well, the first thing was like you know what I'm saying, I was saying earlier, like I had went and had the opportunity to play summer league. So it was like it was still a chance, a hope,
right,
to get in the league, because it's like, well, I can sign a deal, you can get a partial, you can get a non-guarantee, or unless they want to give you a guarantee. So I had the chance to go to camp. You know, I didn't really get a chance to perform and do certain things, but it was still I had a taste of what it's like. You know what I mean? Like really putting on the uniform, the tights, like it just gave me, I already am hungry, but it just took that shit to another level.
Right.
So when I got released and then went overseas, it's frustrating, but at the same time, I got this huge battery in my back, and I'm just ready to kill and get to it. And it was a learning curve too, because again, like I'm 19, fresh out, you know what I'm saying? Like I gotta learn another language, be in another country. And I'm just grateful for some of the OGs that I had, like, you know, especially my first year out when I went to Italy, that took me under their wing, and they talked to me all the time and just kept me in the right, you know, mind space and frame. So, you know, when you have people like that that are willing to, when you have people like that that are willing to pass down that wisdom and that knowledge and really, you know, look out for you, man, it makes it easier. You know what I'm saying? It's a hard transition regardless of how you look at it, but I felt that considering, you know, being out, and then I went over there solo. It ain't like my mama came. It ain't like I had somebody with me. It was like I'm growing up. I'm a man. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta figure my shit out. So, you know, it was cool. But you know, all hoopers, man, once we get into a nice little routine, you know what I'm saying, them days just start adding up and it just goes by. So it was all good.
Yeah, so like, you know, then you went to the Clippers, and you know, the Clippers organization at that time was in flux. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't what it is now. So, you know, take us through that process of like being in that organization, and you know, what are the things that you liked about it? What was the things that you didn't like about it? And then, you know, on the flip side, you know, you go ahead and play for the Lakers, and you know, it's kind of night and day. You know what I mean? So, you know, did you have some good times with the Clippers, or was it just all business and you know, you just on to the next?
Go ahead. You know what, man? I tell people this all the time. Obviously the negative that surrounds that organization. You know, I don't know how long the Sterling
Wow.
cloud,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
Aura
Hey, Princess, cut that down, twin.
Sterling Stink.
That's a cool name. You know what I'm saying? But you know what else on a real quick note though?
Yeah.
Is so many people like him in this world.
Right.
That are on that. And these people teach our kids. And don't get me wrong, fellas, because you know what I'm saying, like Matt and Mike, like there are people that, you know what I'm saying, look like me that's racist than a motherfucker too. Right. So I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not on that. I'm just being transparent, because there are so many people that move that way. They act like they cool, and then behind closed doors, it's a whole bunch of
Yeah.
of
Scary,
BS
man.
going on.
Yeah.
It's real scary. You know what I'm saying? But it's outside of that cloud, right? I am beyond grateful for that organization because that was the 1 year we had all these injuries, we had all this BS going on. They had to play me.
Right. And you showed up.
And that year was
Opportunity.
like 15-12, 10-11, 22-10, 17-8. Like, I really had a chance to show. That's what got me the Lakers job, to be honest with you, because I put up double-doubles on them every time we played them.
Right.
So I'm beyond grateful to that organization for the chance that I got to really be able to showcase my talent, because we had no chance in going playoffs or doing nothing. We literally was down to like 7 guys.
Right.
7 or 8 guys at one point.
Crazy.
Because that was the era of, Al Thornton. And he's a hooper, you know what I'm saying? But Al was putting up 20, 30, 40.
Oh, he was getting
Yeah.
and people wasn't giving him his fair shake, man. But he was a bucket getter. He was a bucket getter.
Ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So I think for guys, anybody that was on that team and that was healthy towards the end of the year and got a chance to showcase themselves, even some of the D-League guys, like they had a chance to be a part of the team and showcase their talent. So I think for all of us, it was a blessing. Like, I think anytime you get guys that can hoop and just be able to show what you can do, it's different, man. It's different when you get that type of green light. You know what I mean? And I wish that it could be like that across the board. Obviously, it's more like that these days than it was before, because in my era, it was play your role. We got somebody for that.
It's more structured. Yeah.
Now you got guys that can come off the bench, give you 20 and 20 minutes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a different mindset. So I was just grateful for that organization for the chance to play. Everything worked out how it was supposed to, and then I ended up on a contender the following 2 seasons.
Because of that work that you put in. Right.
Because of that work. You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful.
Yeah.
It's so interesting that you say that, because I say this a lot on my shows and everything like that. A lot of success in sports is you can kind of draw parallels to the opportunities that are available to you, right? So I feel like there's definitely a lot of these guys that get drafted in the first round. There's a lot of these guys that get drafted early second or even go undrafted that, they're good players. They get drafted, but they never get the opportunity, right? When you were with the Clippers, you were an undrafted guy who had bounced around overseas, bounced around in the NBA for a couple of years, and you got the chance to play. And that led you to getting a real opportunity with the Lakers and put you in a position to win a couple of rings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much of this, right? And how many players do you think, and I'm not going to ask you to put a number on it because that's impossible to quantify, but like, how many players in comparison, seriously, kind of just get screwed by the lack of opportunity in your mind?
I mean, shit, you talking about 30-something teams.
Well, maybe I shouldn't ask you how many, but like,
because
you know what I mean?
I'm about to put it in perspective. So mostly every team only plays 8 players.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
The rosters go to 15, right? Well, it's different now because it's up to 17.
Yeah. Yep.
So you're talking about 60% of guys that stay ready, do extra work, stay in shape, stay ready, young fella. That's all they keep saying. Stay ready, young fella.
Put the work in practice.
Stay in shape. Your time is coming, young fella. Now all of a sudden, it's their 3rd year in the league. Think of Rob Covington, right?
Right.
Teammate of mine.
Right. Yeah.
Teammate of mine, right? Ends up getting the biggest blessing of his life, goes to Philly and is able to show out.
Right.
But on the flip side, think of a KJ McDaniels who was killing in Philly.
Oh, dude.
And it was the reverse going to Houston.
Yeah. Yeah. When he went, I thought he was gonna get an opportunity and didn't, man. Yeah.
If he would have stayed there, he would have got a big check. It's crazy. He was
wild.
Killing.
KJ McDaniels was good when he left Philly too. He never got the shot in Houston.
So then you look at the re-rising of Earl Clark.
Yeah.
Remember when he was bouncing around, had stuff going on, and then he got back with the Lakers.
Yeah.
My boy was like 15 and 12, 20 and 12, 15, 15, 13, 14. Like, it was just like, and I think Jamal Crawford had raised the question, like, man, like, look at how sometimes these coaches and these organizations can do players.
Yeah.
And it's across the board. Like, so even as good as those, many of those guys are, they still can only do, but you know what I'm saying, so much. You know what I mean? And then just to fulfill a role, like some are, you get what you get. You know what I mean? They're great at their role, but even if you put them in a summer league setting or whatever setting, they're still gonna do that.
Yeah. But
then you got guys that are hoopers. That's just like every NBA guy can't go overseas and kill.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds crazy, but because you're supposed to be like, well, they're league guys. Like, there's the expectation because you're a league guy. But you can't go over in Europe and get. Matter of fact, you can't even go to China and average 20.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just different. Like, the expectations, you know what I mean, and what's asked is different, and everybody can't make that adjustment. So I would literally say 60% of guys on every team is in that position.
Yeah.
So, man. Josh, when you first arrived on the Lakers, and you look around the locker room and you see guys like Kobe Bryant and Andrew Bynum and Pau Gasol and Derek Fisher, you coming in as you were an undrafted rookie, you've bounced around the NBA, you were overseas. What's it like walking into a locker room and you see, whoa, there's all these all-star players around you? How does that kind of resonate with you walking in?
I think it's just greatness. I think that, I was just talking. It was funny because I just got a chance to catch up with Lamar the other day.
Yeah, he was on your show.
I'm on a yeah. We got a radio show, and I asked him what's more pressure, right? The game a game 7 final situation or the Rucker. And he had to take a deep breath, and he's like, like, I know on the grand scheme of things, it's nothing like playing in the finals, but it's nothing like playing in front of your peers in those type of situations, especially when you're in the hood, you're in front of people you grew up in, there's betting going on, it's probably guns everywhere in the building. It's a different type of atmosphere.
Big fight feel. Yeah.
It's a different type of atmosphere on top of the fact that it's a packed house in a baby ass gym, and you never know what anybody's on. Anything could pop off at any time. You know what I'm saying? But those are also times and moments of excitement, right? And those pressure moments. And like when you can perform in those type of situations, I feel like performing on the big stage, you know what I'm saying? And it's just my opinion, but I feel like you've kind of been there, done that in a sense. Because like, for example, anybody that's from Georgia knows like North Clayton Riverdale rivalry is crazy. Like, and that's my high school. And it's been crazy situations. We've had fights and brawls and pepper spray and going on. It's been all kind of stuff. So it's like when you grow up in that, then it's like, and where I come from, it's like, well, shit, being on the big stage ain't so bad.
Right.
It's especially when you're in good company.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're surrounded by greatness, and then you get a whole year to prepare for those big moments like that.
Right.
On top of the fact that I had already been to the finals before, so I know what it feels like. I get it.
Right. So
I was just like, man, let's make this shit happen.
Yeah, that was big, man. I mean, like, that the time with the Lakers was, like I said, that core group of guys.
Yeah.
Me being a Laker fan, that to me was like one of the best eras in Laker basketball for me, in my opinion, because it was a bunch of guys that were put together that were hardworking, that were, cast-offs. Lamar Odom was a really great player in his own right, but he kind of fell off a little bit and he had to prove himself. And then him becoming the sixth man, everybody didn't think that he was going to accept that role, but he thrived in that role. So, you got guys like Sasa Vujic and all that, like those guys on the team. They were such hardworking guys, and I think that's what made that group special. Like, do you agree?
No, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, but it's very rare that you get a good core group of guys where everybody's cool with each other.
Right.
Like even though we had moments where you felt like you wanted to kill one of your teammates, but that's just from the grind and battles through practice.
Yeah.
But we would be in LA going out as a team. We would be in other cities, dinners, movies, clubbing, just as a team. You know what I'm saying? Like we would go out and kick it as a team. So it was just cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's one thing I can say I'm grateful for. 90% of the teams that I play with overseas or in the NBA, I've been in good company. Like everybody was like cool, like no bullshit, no drama for the most part. Like I'm thankful for that.
Right.
I think that we would be remiss if we didn't obviously ask about Kobe, who obviously passed away early last year.
Right.
And I'm not going to ask you how you feel because I think we all know how we all felt. It shook the world. I mean, when Kobe died, I was doing play-by-play for a high school basketball tournament in Queens. So I was just, I was shook when that happened. So I'm not going to ask you how you felt, but do you have a specific, only Josh Powell would know kind of Kobe Bryant story that you could tell us about?
One that's appropriate. Nah. I don't know. I kind of like to take these times to just salute him.
Yeah.
Because I got a chance to really know somebody on a different level, and being able to see how he was off the court was more impressive than on.
Right.
Watching him as a father, as a husband, even as a friend, like how he showed up for us, his teammates and other friends that he had. I mean, he's an amazing individual. You obviously hear how number 8 was, right? And he's an asshole. He's this, he's that. But 24 wasn't on that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And he opened up to us. We were included. We were involved. I learned a lot of business things from him. I got a chance to go to a meeting one time where we were on some rich Russian's property that one of the houses was from the old movie of Scarface, and we were going through tunnels, and
that's crazy.
I mean, sick shit. You know what I'm saying? But he took me under his wing and showed me the ropes, and I was able to be a part of some of his conversations. I was able to be in the room and a part of some of the meetings he had with Nike. And I mean, I just appreciate him for letting me in and allowing me to see on and off the court. I was a part of a lot of those 4 a.m. workouts.
Right.
We spent a whole month working out together. You know what I'm saying? That's probably, I shared it like a week or two ago, but that's one thing that a lot of people didn't know was how we used to grind and get at it. Like he would be on one end, I'd be on the other. Every blue moon may jump in with him, but it was just a respect thing across the board, man. And it's still kind of crazy because that'll be a day I'll never forget because my birthday's on the 25th. Wow. And then the next day, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit happened. So I don't know. You're not doing anything wrong by asking because everybody was fucked up behind what happened.
Oh, yeah.
And then not only that, obviously we talk about him, but Gigi.
You're right.
I've had dreams before putting myself in the helicopter, seeing him and what he was doing and how he was probably consoling her, but probably how he was with the helicopter and just trying to keep everybody calm, I guess. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've had dreams and it gets heavy sometimes, and then I'm confused sometimes because it's like, how the fuck does something happen like that to somebody like him?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like superhero, like a guy who's damn near worth $1 billion. You know, like this shit ain't supposed to happen to somebody like him.
Yeah.
But God got a different plan, and sometimes things, you know, happen how they happen, man. You know, so I never have a problem answering that because I always want to revert to and let people know that he was one of the most, you know, amazing human beings that I've come across, because he didn't have to do what he did for me, just like he doesn't have to do what he does for so many others.
Right.
But that's the type of guy that he is, and that's that or was, and that's his legacy. And it was beautiful to watch chapter 2, because you're watching him as a father, you're watching him as a husband, you know, getting a chance to really see his heart, his love, and things like that. So, yeah, man, always hats off to the big homie.
Definitely.
Yeah, Matt.
Definitely. And I mean, Mike's exactly right. No one's ever going to forget, you know, where they were when they heard the news about Kobe Bryant. I think that one of the things about Kobe that's so fascinating is that not only was he so dominant, just a pure talent on the court, and garnered all these accolades, the championships, the MVPs. He won an Academy Award. He was doing so many other things. And I think that it's just a testament to how important Kobe's character was and how he kind of set the standard for greatness. Did that kind of radiate in the locker room and inevitably contribute to success?
Easily, because he always had a chip on his shoulder, and everybody knows he talks shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he coming in, he talking shit.
Fierce.
You know, he's making all kind of bets, just talking crazy. He gonna find a way to put a battery in your back or challenge you in some type of way. And then it was good because him and D Fish were like a perfect combination. You know, it's kind of like how your mom and dad does. Your dad will beat your ass, and your mom will come back in the room and
Right.
be like, "Son, are you okay?"
Good cop, bad cop.
I ain't okay, right? And it's like D Fish was so cool because he didn't do it in a way where it's like a baby and like, you know what I'm saying? He did it in a way of like just a pro, like a big bro, like he means this, or he, you know, I've seen him talk to other guys and, you know, just how they fed off of each other, man. But his energy, I mean, it was just something that was incredible, you know, and I think he got more respect because you see how he is in practice. So when we are watching games, when we watch him go for 61 at the Garden and stuff like that, like, yeah, you'll still be in awe, but at the same time, it's like, shit, when we scrimmaging each other, we've seen him score all 11 by himself.
Another day at the office.
Or and that's the stuff that's impressive because there's no cameras, there's no nothing, it's just us.
Just us. Yeah.
He could sit out practice if he wants to.
Right.
But he's not doing that. He's in there, he's locked in, he's pushing us, he's guarding whoever, you know, he's doing whatever. He'll go from I'll score the whole game to I'll get everybody involved to I'm just gonna play defense and I'm gonna let everybody else score. Like he has so many ways that he can be dominant. I mean, it's just an incredible thing to watch.
Yeah, I guess I got two questions for you, JP.
Yep.
Where do you like the 2 years that you spent with the Lakers? Obviously, 2 championship years, 2 different teams. You know, you had Trevor Ariza for 1 year, then you had Metta World Peace the second year. That was a great addition to the team.
Right.
Where do you put those 2 teams in Laker lore, like Laker history? Do you think that those teams stack up with the other dominant teams, like the early 2000 teams? Like, do you think that they stack up with even the Magic Johnson teams? Because I really think that those 2 years were very underrated in Laker history, but they were the most, to me, they were the most impactful from where the organization was. Like, you know, they were in flux. Kobe Bryant wanted to leave. Then all of a sudden they get Pau Gasol and everything changes. So, you know, do you think that these, you know, those 2 years stack up with all the other championship years that they had. Like, you know, if I'm gonna take one year, I guess probably the 01 Laker team against, you know, you guys in 08, 09, 2010.
See, the other thing people gotta understand is, man, we had size,
Yeah.
we had depth, we had people that can guard.
Yeah, shooting.
So Powell doesn't get his credit.
No.
He's probably gonna arguably, I would think, he would probably get a chance to get in the Hall of Fame. I would think. I mean, he's definitely one of the nicest Europeans to come from over there. Championships, very skilled. I mean, it's ridiculous. And you know, when Powell was in his bag early on, he was destroying everybody.
Oh yeah.
So another argument that I've made, because I remember, I think Meta World Peace put this up, and there was a question: who were the top 5 centers of in Lakers history? Andrew Bynum is on my list.
Definitely.
Wow.
And I don't think that people, first of all, when you think of centers, obviously Cap, Shaq.
You're talking about true centers, right?
Yeah, so you got Cap, you got Shaq, Wilt.
Well, I don't know if people are gonna put Mike in there because it's too old. You know what I mean?
You gotta put Georgie in there. I
Yeah,
forgot about George, man. Because I actually, to be honest, right, even though Powell was a 4, but he still played for. I actually had Powell up there.
Yeah.
And then I had Bynum, because a healthy Andrew Bynum.
Oh, he was a problem.
Oh my God, bro. He went 2 months when he finally figured it out. If correct me if I'm wrong, I think the stat line was 28 and 15 and right at 30 minutes, because he was on a minute restriction.
Yeah, he was on a minute restriction because exactly.
He was
now,
for a while.
He was the problem. When he got drafted, you know, the potential was there, but the quick strides that he made in the NBA, because you know, JP, as a big man, there's a learning curve in the NBA as a big man. It takes you a while to get your footing down, to know how to be able to protect the rim without fouling, be able to move your feet. He made such a jump from year 1 to year 2 that it was ridiculous. And that's the trajectory that you like to see with young players, that they make that leap from year 1 to year 2. And then you can almost kind of guess where their career is going if they make that leap. You know what I mean? And that's what you saw out of him. And he was special. So I'm with you.
No, it was ridiculous. And I'm sorry for eating, Phil. I ain't ate all
fine.
day, so I apologize.
All good, bro.
Mike does it all the time. We good.
But I remember the one game, and I think this was the game that started it. Remember when he gave DeAndre 42?
Yes, I remember.
For his career high? So he had 20-something in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
It was ridiculous, the show that he put on, from dunks to offensive rebounds to post work to even a little jab jumper.
Right. And he was a kid doing that.
He was a kid that didn't really like the game, according to sources, right? Man, the stuff that we was watching him do before he had that meniscus, whatever situation, it was unreal.
Yeah.
It's unreal. And it's not even matched, man. You talking about somebody that was doing that they said didn't like the game. He was young. It ain't even close.
Yeah.
I got to put him up there. So, and the reason why I'm making that argument is because when we start talking about going against other teams, I mean, you talking about them two as your 4 and your 5.
Right.
Obviously, you got Cole. D. Fish wasn't no punk.
Nope.
Right? You talking about a proven champion, big shots. He could defend multiple positions.
LO off the
smart player.
Yeah.
Right? You got Trev or Ron.
Right.
At the 3, which we know how Trev, is throughout his career, a defender, a knockdown 3-point shooter. Very crafty, great in the lanes, all of that.
Underrated.
And then Ron, we know how he is. Give you a bucket, but Ron can guard anybody, and he ain't gonna take no shit.
Right.
Then you start diving into the bench, because you got guys like Sasha who can shoot.
Right.
You got Luke Walton, who's a playmaker, skilled, knows the game.
With that pass,
high IQ player.
That's right.
You got Jordan Farmar, speed, 3-point shooting. You know what I'm saying? He'll get after it. You got Shannon Brown, same thing, athletic as hell.
Yeah.
Right. So you got myself. You got you got Adam Morrison, who was a bucket. He averaged 20 with Charlotte until he got hurt.
And we're not even talking about LO.
I ain't even going to LO. Shit, I thought we already talked about LO. That's what's so crazy. Come on, man. Like, and then shit, even DJ Mabanga. Like,
right.
Ron, man, we just had hoopers, man, and guys that was just, ready, man. So I feel confident in us that we could go against any one of those teams you talking about, especially during the 7-game stretch. Even with the old school teams, like the size and the length, we can also get physical and go there.
Right.
I don't like it. Really don't. I don't. For me, I just feel like it don't make us nut.
Yeah, I agree, man. Because like I said, like when you hear the talk about Lakers history, obviously there's a rich history with the Lakers, but those 2 years get lost, man. Like people don't really give those back-to-back championships their fair due because you guys were dominant. You were a team that was chemistry personified for those 2 years, and you guys were dominant. You showed that in the finals against the Magic, and you showed that in the finals against the Celtics. It went 7. You needed everybody in that series to get that win. Kobe Bryant didn't have a great game 7, and here comes Artest. Here comes Metta World Peace to be able to save the day, but everybody did their job. You played good minutes. Like, what I'm saying? It was like, this is the thing. It's like those years get lost, and I really hope that at some point you guys get your fair due in regards to how great you were for that stretch. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I also wanted to talk about Lamar Odom because, we all know that LO had his struggles after he left the Lakers. Like, he never wanted to leave the Lakers. And, once that happened, his life just kind of went down a downward spiral. But now, he's back on track. He's healthy again. He's of spirit and mind and all that. And he was on your show. I definitely watched that. I love the conversations that you guys had. So, just take me through like your relationship with LO and, how you seen him grow, through those tough years that he had.
I think one of the things is people forget what he's gone through. Yeah. How many people has died and he's lost in his family, including one of his children.
Right.
How he grew up, things that he's seen. And I just know how important family is to him. You know what I'm saying? So, with all that stuff going on, whether it was the Lakers trade, whether it was, he had just gotten married, there's a lot of different things that had an effect. And then it's also tough, too, if you don't have the right people around you and in your corner. I've been able to catch up with him a lot lately. He's here in Atlanta.
Good.
And he actually came and supported. I was doing a mental health gala with Mindful Sport and Performance, and he came in attendance. But every time I see him, man, I just tell him I love him. I'm proud of him because the shit he's going through is not easy.
No.
And he still has his struggles, but he's still here. And he's still working on and constantly doing what he can to be the best that he can each and every day. So, when we catch up, we really just be talking about life, and
right.
I just be giving him roses, man. Like, just
got
like that.
Got to.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think us as men, no matter your background or where you come from, it's like we're fixers.
Yeah.
We're supposed to protect and provide, and we got to look like we have it all together all the time.
It's your weakness,
and it's not fucking easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's perfect, and it doesn't matter if you're a professional athlete or you work in media or a doctor or a lawyer or even if you're a janitor, whatever the case may be. It's like it's just hard being a man,
right?
And for somebody like himself, man, just needs to be uplifted. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I try to do is just keep the vibes positive when we talk and when we catch up. You know, obviously a big respect for his game because he was somebody I had to face every day.
Right.
The three-pointer, the athleticism, he had a high IQ. He can play make, he can pass, he can defend, and he was a bucket.
Yeah, he was special.
So somebody that can handle like that, and it's crazy, man. People just forget until you see one of them highlight reels pop up on Instagram. And you're like, oh, it was crazy.
Right. And the one thing too is like, you know, the fact that he was left-handed, that even made it even more of an impossible matchup. The fact that he's 6'10", left-handed, all those skills, like it was impossible.
Mm-hmm. Crazy. So yeah, man. I mean, Elo is a beast, man. He's a really, really good dude, man. I don't have nothing but positive things to say about Elo.
Definitely.
All right, so moving away from the Lakers for a minute, I want to fast forward into your career a little bit more. You know, because I think that there is a big difference in, you know, at least when you talk about that, there's a big difference between being a dirty player and playing with passion, right? So let me ask you this. Was Zaza Pachulia a dirty player?
You know, Zaza's like a brother to me too, because I played with him.
I want you to throw shade. I'm just saying.
He can do some questionable things.
Putting it diplomatically.
That's fair, right?
That's a diplomatic answer. We take
Definitely.
that. Take that.
That's a fair answer.
Yep.
Go ahead, Matt.
You know, what we were talking all about how Barry brought up Laker lore and different eras in, you know, Laker history. So we're now in the present day in the LeBron, Anthony Davis era right now. And so far it's going pretty well. Do you still think that after this James Harden move to Brooklyn, or even that, or
I didn't even let you finish? Yes.
Didn't even have to get through the question.
Hey, listen, man. I never bet against the king.
Right.
Smart.
Basketball IQ is crazy. The fact that this man's still taking off on people at 36, he just does not care for anybody.
No.
Then they got better with Schroeder and Montrez and, you know, some of the other pickups with a different look. And obviously, as the year goes on and they stay healthy, man, it's scary. AD is AD. LeBron is who he is. They still got Kyle Kuzma.
Right. Josh Powell's having a little connection issues, but we'll get him back.
Remember when the Heat first got together? Yes, they went to the finals every year. But pulling it all together to win, to complete the job is a different thing. And it's going to take time.
Yeah.
And they can all score, obviously, right? They just put up, I just talked about that today. Shit, them three alone had 100 points.
Right.
But then when you ain't, you know, when your bench, you know what I'm saying, doesn't really help. And the scoring ain't even the issue. What about defense?
No defense.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
None.
Let's think about these teams that are allowing 100 in this and 100 in that. Like, what is that? Like, when we were winning championships, man, we was holding teams to 80-something points, 90 points. Every night, y'all, 110, 115, 120 in regulation?
Yeah.
It takes a lot of buckets to.
This is the thing. I don't respect that, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, as much as these guys be olaying and letting guys go by on the first move, that's the shit that would get guys like me pulled out the game. When I was in the game. You see what I'm saying? Like, back then when in my era of coming in 2003.
Like that's
like,
something
if
I
you want to stay on the court,
yeah.
you can't. There's no way you can let somebody hit you with one move. They didn't even go into a combo move yet, and they hit you with one move, and they're by you.
Right.
Oh no, the coach gonna be like, timeout. Hey, big dog, come sit right by me. What is you doing?
That's definitely a question I wanted to ask too, JP, is that the fact that defensive concepts have changed in 20 years, right? Since you've been playing to what it is now, like you see a lot of not fighting over screens, everything's a switch. You know, we're seeing more zone defense now in the NBA. Like, you know, what do you think is the next step? Like, do you think that the NBA will actually get back to a little bit more of the on-ball defense, the actual physicality? Do you think that's just going to continue going in this Olay type of, okay, we're just going to let the guy score because we don't want to ruin the pace of the game, the tempo of the offense? Like, what do you think?
Let me tell you a great point I made the other day after watching the Tony Parker documentary. The Spurs, teams like the Spurs, the Detroit Pistons, ruined the NBA. Teams like that play defense the way that they did, now it makes the spectators and the fans, they're bored because they don't appreciate what really basketball is about.
And remember that final? That was one of the lowest rated finals in NBA history.
So because of that brand of basketball, it changed everything else. That's what I'm saying. Like, me as a student of the game, I know the types of things that get people cut and released on teams, whether you're NBA or overseas. They're not going for that. Think about when you're in college. If you're a college coach, you're going to be in film the next day, right? Them long-ass, boring-ass film sessions. And he going to press play, look at yourself, rewind. Press play, look at you, rewind. That's what Herb would do. And one of his favorite sentences would be, look at him, he's taking a coffee break. Right? So you see a guy, even not even in a stance, that would drive a college coach crazy. And you mean to tell me these guys on the first move, right? You ain't even went into your bag and you already at the rim?
Right.
Come on, man. Hell no. I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? I wish that, because you could still have exciting players and teams and all of that, but play some defense.
Yeah.
You're not even gonna try.
Yeah, I agree.
And then that's why it's like you gotta have guys like the PJs, the Pat Bevs, you know, Rob Covington is somebody who's been on that list. It's just all of that. Like, now look at how they're giving away Defensive Player of the Year.
Right.
Right? My what's my man name with the Pacers? Miles Turner.
Miles Turner.
Leading the league in blocks.
Yep.
Didn't even make the list.
Right.
So, like, what do we base it off of?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just different.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think out of all the sports, like, basketball should have stayed away from the analytics. Like, basketball is more this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can be able to see a guy giving max effort and know that, okay, cool, this is a quality player. We can be able to keep him on this roster, build this roster around guys like this. Now it's more analytics. It's more advanced stats. It's like there's too much of that in the NBA, in my opinion, because we didn't need that 25 years ago to know what a good player was. So why is it different now? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just no respect. The only thing I feel like people respect is a bucket.
Yeah.
But then if you give him a bucket, now the other complaint is, well, he shoots too much.
Right.
So it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. I give you a dub, then you trying to break down, how did I get to 20?
Right. You're no longer a quality player if you can't hit the three. You know what I mean? Like, mid-range game is gone. All you know, guys like Richard Hamilton couldn't survive in the NBA now. Would you imagine that? And Richard Hamilton was a bucket when it came to mid-range jump shots. He made a
ball
career,
like just moving without the ball,
right?
Coming off the tight curl, all of that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, that point that you were just alluding to, Josh. I mean, at the end of your career, you play with James Harden, who is the epitome of what you just talked about. Playing a guy plays no defense and shoots too much.
But James, to his defense,
you?
let me say this real quick. He actually is a really good defender when he decides to play D. That's the thing that's crazy.
Right. He has shown the ability, correct.
He has shown the ability to sit down, or even sometimes when he guards guys in the post. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has the ability, he just don't.
Good, Matt.
Yeah, so I mean, we talked about all these different players that you played with in Los Angeles, and we neglected to even mention playing for Phil Jackson, who's arguably, you know, one of the greatest coaches in NBA history. So what was his sort of command like over the team with handling different personalities in pursuit of not only one ring but back-to-back rings?
It froze a little bit. You said, what's his what? I'm sorry.
So, playing with under a coach like Phil Jackson, how was that in relation to managing those type of personalities while still winning back-to-back championships?
I think it's great, man. Phil is the best coach to ever do it. And the reason why I say that is like, yeah, they're X and O guys and stuff like that. But the fact that he's had to manage some of the toughest egos over the course of his coaching career.
That's right.
I don't even think it's close. And then like one thing I like telling people is I really learned how to be a better parent by being coached by Phil. Because I have multiple children, and when you talk about managing egos and still finding a way to kind of push them, like each player to still perform at a high level, you know, to demand excellence out of each one of those guys and figure out different ways to do it. Some guys he might cuss you out. Some guys he might be sarcastic. Some guys he might say read a book. Some guys he might say do this. Some guys he might say do that. And to watch him, you know, and how he maneuvered and how he moved, man, was just amazing. And I learned a lot from him that those were things, you know, took with me off the court as well, just in dealing with people, you know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, shit, I'm sure it wasn't easy dealing with Mike and Kobe.
Right.
Right.
He had both, arguably, the two best players to ever do it.
Right. Put Shaq in there too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Shit, I think to be honest, the Shaq and Kobe probably the most ego managing he probably had to do in his coaching career.
Right.
Because Scotty is a great player, but you know, Scotty laid down when it came to Mike, and I say that respectfully. You know what I'm saying? Not trying to be disrespectful.
There's a pecking order. He understood that.
Right. He understood like Mike's one of them too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even with Rodman, but it's like Shaq was number one, Kobe was number one. That's how they viewed it.
Right.
So, you know, the fact that he
We staying with Josh Powell here, having some connection issues, but we here.
respect.
Yes, sir. What's next? You got a mic?
No, it's on you, Burr.
Okay. So, Josh, take us through your foundation. 21 reasons to give foundation. Like, listen, you know, philanthropy is the best thing that you can definitely do, especially as an athlete. Like, you know, you give back to your community, you give back to the youth. You know, kind of take me through your foundation, man, because that's I'm sure that's really, really important to you.
Yeah, so I've been doing community work for a long time, and then I officially made it. I made it official in 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
21 Reasons to Give is the name. Um, and just being able to do a lot of work in any community, no matter where I've been, no matter what city, no matter what country. And, you know, the thing that we do is to find what the community is lacking, depending on where we're doing it at, and provide a need. So I've been able to do a lot of really dope things from camps, clinics, being a part of mentoring programs, back to school event. Um, One of the coolest events that I did was Dream Night at Zoo Atlanta, where we shut the zoo down. We partnered with Children's Hospital. We partnered with V103 here in Atlanta, and was able to shut down the zoo for like 4 hours.
Wow.
We serviced over 1,000 people, man. We had hundreds of families, terminally ill kids, their families, like, was able to feed them, entertain them, and let them, you know, obviously animals is something that's soothing and healing especially when you have people going through things. And I mean, just being able to do dope things like that. I've done things in other countries where I've gone into their hood and, you know, taking care of families, bought food, took care of medical bills, took care of medicines. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, man. And I'm just fortunate, man. Like I just don't want to be a guy that just talks about things. I just want to be about action and just do it.
Yeah. What's up, man?
All right. So, Josh, we asked this at the conclusion of every interview that we do, and we're going to try and tally up the kind of different answers that we get. We ask every guest this. But in your mind, who is the greatest athlete of all time in any sport?
Yikes. Come on, Mike. I ain't never been asked that one before, bro. You gonna do me like that?
That's why we doing it, brother.
How we doing?
That's why we doing it.
You gotta be a little different, me.
Who does that, bro? Like, why you gonna do me like that?
Who does that?
Yo, we put him on the spot, man. We put JP on the spot.
Listen, this is a very solid journalistic integral question.
Nah, man, apologize.
The greatest athlete of all time.
In your opinion, it's all right.
And this is just me. I really would like, let me put a disclaimer out there. I would like to think about this more. Can you hit me up another time and ask
All right,
me?
cool.
But for right now, the short answer I'm going to say is Randy Moss.
All right, so we'll give you. All right, here's the deal. We'll give you Randy Moss now, but the next time we have you back on the show, we need a detailed answer. We gonna get you.
So I can give you a detailed answer now. This is it, and it's funny because I pay attention to a lot of things, but Randy was good in every fucking sport.
That's true. He played ball.
He was a hot, like, people don't realize him and White Chocolate played together. White Chocolate was throwing. Yeah. They had a commercial, bro. White Chocolate was throwing him lives. It was like, who's that? Mm-hmm. That's Randy.
Right.
Hooping, played baseball, played football. Obviously, went to the league. He was a problem. He's a Hall of Fame.
Right.
I don't know too many people that all around did it like that. Like, you have most people who were, like, LeBron was great in football and in basketball. AI was great in football and basketball. Dion, baseball, football.
Bo Jackson,
football, baseball. Like, but he had all three.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
I don't know. And he low key, I don't remember if he did track and field, but he low key the speed that he had.
Right.
You could probably put him out there and see what, you know, who wants some smoke.
What did Randy run? I think he ran like a 4.29 at the combine.
Come on, man. Come on now. I like, and you know, it's crazy. Like, when I see them give out them awards, I'm like, what do they base that off of? Like, who's the best athlete ever?
Yeah.
I would think it's somebody that's good at everything that they do. Like, it's not just you're a beast in swimming or you're a beast at this. Like, no. If you put bruh on the football field, he gonna dominate. If you put him on the basketball floor, he gonna dominate. If you put him in this, he gonna I don't know what they base it off of, but that's why I gave the answer that I gave.
Nah, it's cool, man, because you gave that answer. We had two other guests on our two other shows. You know, we had Martin Gramatica. He was a kicker for the Tampa Bay Bucks. He picked Maradona, Diego Maradona, and then we had Joe Spano, who used to be a broadcaster on the radio for SB Nation. He picked Muhammad Ali. So, you know, we have different answers, and this is why it's a great question, man, because it's really a question that you gotta think about. You know what I'm saying?
But why do people? I understand it, but why do people pick Muhammad?
Well, he said that Muhammad, based on his skill set, the fact that he was a different boxer before, you know, he got suspended because he didn't go to the military, and then when he came back after that 3-year hiatus, he was a completely different boxer, and he still ended up dominating. So the fact that you can be in your prime and have 3 years taken away from you in your prime and still come back, and the first fight that you have is against Joe Frazier and you win, that kind of shows the type of athlete he was. You know what I'm saying? The type of dominant figure he was and how he kind of had to change his game. So I get it. I mean, it's not, that's his opinion. So, I'm not going to fight him on it. You know what I mean?
Fair. It's
Yeah.
fair. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But if I'm going to that, then that makes me think of guys like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Wilt Chamberlain.
Right.
Like, I just seen some other shit about Wilt that was so crazy. Like
he was a freak.
volleyball, he was had a 40-inch verted 7 feet. Like, all kind of stuff they was putting out there. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So, I mean, yeah. Great question, man. Good job, Mike.
Got you, bro. I got you.
Matt, you got anything else?
Honestly, I'm still like, I really like Josh's interpretation of what like a great athlete, because I feel like not a lot of people typically would process that question the way that Josh did. Like, if you think who's the greatest athlete of all time in any sport, all the typical Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, LeBron, all these people can come to your names because they're the greatest in their respective sports.
Athlete.
But Josh flipped it on its ear and is like, no, I want to pick the guy that did everything athletically at a superior level.
That's
I like
fair.
that. I guarantee there's not going to be many more answers like that one.
I respect
Josh's that's been my favorite answer so far.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I like that.
All right, listen, we got one more for you before you let you go, Josh. Mike, we had a conversation the other day.
Dear God, you people.
Yes.
Adamant.
This needs to happen.
I need your take on this. From brother to brother, I need to see where your head is at. He said that Eminem is the best lyricist of all time.
No.
No.
Simple.
Wait.
Simple.
You're twisting my words.
No, I did not. Yo, man, is that what
yes, you are. Yes, you are.
We'll let him explain. Let him explain.
Here's what I said. Okay. I think that Eminem, I don't think that there's been anybody in hip hop history, right, that has put together rhyme patterns and his talent, like based on pure talent vocally. And I like what he can do, like just rattling off rhymes and stuff like that. I don't think there's been anybody like that in the history of the genre. That's what I said. I didn't say his lyrics were the best. I didn't say anything. I didn't say his music was the best. I said he's the most talented. That's what I said.
In the words of my ATLians, Andre 3 Sacks would have something.
What did I say? What did I say?
According to what
yesterday.
he based it off on. According to what he based it off on. But for me, my GOAT is Lil Wayne.
Okay.
And I stand by that because
respect.
Because right, people will say Jay-Z. Well, first of all, I hate when people always say Tupac or Biggie. Like, don't crown somebody just because God rest their soul.
That's the default answer.
Right.
So then it's like, well, it's Jay-Z next. And I always go back and forth because I go record for record. I go mixtape for mixtape. I think that Lil Wayne, going from starting his rap career, 11 years old, still going strong to this day, how he's changed the entire culture. He actually had a record-breaking weekend or a day where he sold 1 million copies in like one day or one weekend, whatever it was, when he put out the Carter 3, I think it was. Squad mixtapes. The founder of Drake, Nicki Minaj, I can't even remember who else. Young Money was just crazy. The fact that he started from a group, they had drama, and he carried Cash Money by himself. Like, I'm going to give y'all receipts, fellas. I'm going to follow it up with a lot of information.
He's ready.
To prove my argument. On top of the fact that Jay-Z did his first song at 25, 26. And how many guys or artist, hip hop or R&B that you see can transition from young to old. It's very hard.
True,
Bow
yeah.
Wow can do it, right? Chris Brown is exceptional. I'm trying to think of who else started like young. Justin Bieber is exceptional. Because for the most part, a lot of artists, a lot of rappers, a lot of art, they can't do it. Like,
Yeah.
how do you go from singing this way to now all of a sudden you fucking and doing this and doing that?
Right.
How do you go from Lil Bow Wow to now you slanging dope and doing this and doing? You know, I'm not saying Bow Wow's done that,
Yeah.
but y'all get what I'm saying.
Right.
It's a
Right.
hard transition.
Right.
And Lil Wayne, for one summer, I don't know if y'all remember this, but he went from writing his rhymes to freestyling. He had a whole summer. He just kept putting out music. And that was his transition into who he is now, because he was like, well, if Hov can do it, and if I'm going to be considered one of the greatest, I need to be on that type of level.
Yeah.
So what did he do? He went in that booth and he got busy. And that's just my take, fellas. But y'all ain't gonna count out 3 stacks now.
Barrett, you can back me up here. You can back me up here. Did I not say when Mike and I were going back and forth about people who I would put above Eminem, was Andre 3000 not the first name I said?
Of course. Now, yo, we was coming at him last night, man. He was crazy.
Josh knows. Josh knows.
I think Mike following up too, because here's the thing. Eminem has moments where you like, what the fuck? Like the flow pattern, like what he thought.
That's what I mean, bro.
The flow pattern, because he can go with the slow flow and then he'll speed it up on some Machine Gun Kelly type shit. And then he just spit, and then he'll slow it down and he'll bring, like, M is ridiculous. Like, you know, obviously he shows, it's like when it's him on an album, you like, come on, M, don't just give me four records and then be on whatever else. But when he somebody else's stuff, then it's like, now you see why he's considered to be top 10, top 15.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, lyricist. So M is talented, man.
Yeah, trust me. Yeah, and that's the thing we was telling Mike yesterday, is like, we're not saying that he's not dope. He's up there. He's just not the tip top. That's all I'm saying.
This is, like I said, like, this is where people think that, like, people just think I mean something different, right? Like, I never said that Eminem's music was the best.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Like, I don't hardcore listen to Eminem and like religiously say like, God damn, like that's dope. That's dope. That, like, but when what you said, Josh, right? Like, when he gets into that, like, he's got like those little moments, right? Like, I don't think anybody can put together a minute-long moment better than him. That's what
fair. I mean. That's a fair statement, Mike. That's very fair.
Thank you. See, these dudes were giving me shit, but jeez.
Look, man, that's all right, man. We having fun. This was fun, Josh. I appreciate you coming on, man. You know, we definitely gotta do it again, man. If
absolutely. Anytime y'all let me know, man. I'm humbled. Thank y'all for the opportunity.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you, Josh. Thanks, man.
All Even Live exclusive. That's it. I'm Barry Grant Jr., host of the All Even podcast. That's Mike Guido, host of Guido's Gridiron Blitz. That's Matt Cataruzolo down at the bottom. We had Josh Powell here. We had a great time, man. So, you know, signing out.
Blessings, fellas. Appreciate y'all.